Today, we're looking at 14 cars that made owners regret their purchase faster than expected. But here's the important part: not every car on this list is necessarily bad. Some of them look amazing on paper. Some feel impressive in the showroom. Some carry luxury badges that instantly create trust. But once real ownership begins, things can change very quickly. Because buying a car is the easy part. Living with depreciation, fuel costs, maintenance bills, software issues, annoying technology, and daily driving frustrations is where the real test begins. And this list is not just full of cheap cars. We have $50,000 Mercedes models, nearly $70,000 BMWs, luxury SUVs, expensive electric vehicles, and even a Jeep that can cost over $100,000. So let's get into it. At number 14, we have the Mazda CX-70. Now, to be fair, this is not a bad SUV. In fact, many owners actually like the way it drives. The interior feels premium, the inline-six engine is smooth, and the steering is sharper than you might expect from an SUV this size. But the problem is simple: confusion. For many buyers, the CX-70 feels too similar to the Mazda CX-90. Same basic body, similar size, similar feel, but without the third row. And once owners realize that, the regret starts. Some CX-70 owners begin asking themselves, why did I buy the CX-70 when I could have just bought the CX-90 and folded the third row seats down? That is not the kind of thought you want to have after signing the paperwork. On top of that, some owners complain about low-speed transmission jerkiness, wireless charging that heats up the phone more than it charges it, and a start-stop system that can feel annoying in traffic. So while the CX-70 is a good vehicle in many ways, it still leaves some owners wondering if they made the wrong choice. At number 13, we have the Mitsubishi Mirage G4. This car is one of the cheapest new cars you can buy in America. At first, that sounds like a good thing. It is affordable, simple, and fuel efficient. But the problem is that many buyers expect it to be a real daily driver. And that's where things get difficult. Owners often say the Mirage G4 feels weak on highways. Merging onto fast roads or trying to pass larger vehicles can feel stressful. That is not just a small complaint. If a car makes you nervous at highway speeds, that becomes a serious ownership problem. Another major issue with the Mitsubishi Mirage G4 is cabin noise. There is very little sound insulation, so long drives can become tiring quickly. Some owners describe the experience as driving a tin can at highway speeds. For short city trips, the Mirage G4 can make sense. But for buyers who expected a comfortable daily car that could handle highways and longer drives, disappointment can arrive very fast. At number 12, we have the Nissan Leaf. The Nissan Leaf was once a pioneer in the electric car world. For a long time, it was one of the first affordable electric cars that regular buyers could actually consider. But the EV market has changed dramatically. Today, newer electric vehicles offer longer range, faster charging, better battery technology, and more modern software. The Leaf now feels outdated compared to many of its rivals. One of the biggest problems is range. In cold weather, the already limited range can drop even more, creating real anxiety for owners. And then there is depreciation. As electric vehicle prices continue to drop across the market, the Leaf's resale value has come under serious pressure. Some Nissan Leaf owners realize that if they wait too long, they may lose even more money. So they decide to sell early. The Leaf will always have an important place in EV history. But in today's market, it no longer feels as competitive as it once did. At number 11, we have the Mercedes-Benz CLA. The CLA looks impressive from the outside. It has sharp styling, a sporty shape, and of course, the Mercedes badge. In the showroom, it can feel like a very tempting luxury car. But once owners take it home, some begin to notice the reality. The CLA is an entry-level Mercedes, and in some areas, it feels like one. The interior has more hard plastic than some buyers expect. Certain materials do not feel expensive enough for a car that can cost around $50,000. The MBUX infotainment system also looks modern, but some owners find it frustrating in daily use. Screens can lag, menus can feel complicated, and simple tasks sometimes take too many taps. And here is the uncomfortable truth. Some buyers realize that a Mazda 3 or Honda Civic can feel more satisfying to drive every day for much less money. When that realization hits, the Mercedes badge suddenly does not feel like enough. At number 10, we have the Mercedes-Benz GLA. The GLA is Mercedes' entry-level compact luxury SUV. And that phrase, entry-level, matters a lot here. Many people see the Mercedes badge and expect a smooth, quiet, luxurious experience. But in the GLA, some buyers are surprised by the firm ride, road noise, and and the amount of hard plastic inside. For someone coming from Toyota or Honda expecting a major luxury upgrade, that can feel disappointing. The run-flat tires and stiff suspension can make longer commutes and road trips feel less comfortable than expected. And if small rattles or creaks start appearing early, the luxury image becomes even weaker. The GLA is not necessarily a terrible vehicle, but when expectations are set by the Mercedes name, even small flaws can feel much bigger. At number 9, we have the Mercedes-Benz GLB. The GLB is actually one of the more practical small Mercedes SUVs. It has a boxy shape, good cargo room, and in some versions, even an optional third row. On paper, it makes sense. But once again, the problem is the expectation gap. Many buyers see the GLB as a smaller and more affordable version of a proper Mercedes SUV, like the GLE. They expect the same luxury feeling, just in a smaller package. But in real ownership, the difference becomes obvious. The materials, ride quality, road noise, and overall refinement may not feel as premium as buyers hoped. Some owners eventually move up to a more expensive Mercedes SUV. Others leave the brand completely. The Mercedes badge is powerful, but not every Mercedes model delivers the same luxury experience. At number 8, we have the BMW 5 Series. For decades, the BMW 5 Series has been one of the most respected sports sedans in the world. But the newer generation has disappointed some longtime BMW fans. One major reason is the lack of physical buttons. Many basic controls, including climate and audio functions, have moved into screens and digital interfaces. That may look futuristic, but not every driver enjoys it. Longtime BMW owners expected a driver-focused cockpit. Instead, some feel like they are operating a tablet on wheels. There is also a character problem with the new BMW 5 Series. The new model is bigger, heavier, and more comfort-focused than before. Some enthusiasts even describe it as a mini 7 Series. That is not necessarily bad for everyone, but if you wanted a sharp, connected, sporty BMW experience, the new direction may feel disappointing. At nearly $68,000, expectations are extremely high. And when the car does not deliver the feeling buyers expected, regret can arrive quickly. If you enjoy videos like this, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, because the most expensive regrets are still coming. At number 7, we have the Jaguar F-Pace. The F-Pace has a very specific problem, and it is not only about the vehicle itself. The bigger issue is uncertainty around the Jaguar brand. Jaguar has been moving away from its current lineup and trying to reinvent itself as a new electric-focused luxury brand. That creates a difficult question for current Jaguar owners. What happens to the value of my car if the brand changes direction completely? When a brand's future feels uncertain, resale value can suffer. The F-Pace is still a stylish SUV, but its infotainment system can feel a step behind rivals like BMW and Mercedes. And when you are paying close to $60,000, buyers expect more than just good design. They expect strong technology, confidence in the brand, and solid resale value. When those things feel uncertain, owners may decide to get out early. At number 6, we have the Porsche Macan. This one is interesting because the Macan is genuinely a very good vehicle. It drives beautifully. The PDK transmission is excellent. And compared to many other SUVs, the Macan feels more like a tall sports car than a regular crossover. So why is it on this list? Because owning a Porsche is not just about buying the car. Maintenance costs can be very high. The first major service bill can shock buyers who did not fully calculate the real cost of ownership. A buyer may be able to afford the purchase price, but that does not always mean they are ready for Porsche-level maintenance. There is also another factor with the Porsche Macan. Some Porsche buyers use the Macan as a stepping stone. They buy it to build a relationship with a dealer and eventually get access to a more exclusive Porsche model. Once they reach that goal, they sell the Macan quickly. So the Macan is not here because it is a bad car. It is here because the reality of Porsche ownership can be expensive, and because some buyers never plan to keep it for long. At number 5, we have the Land Rover Discovery Sport. The Discovery Sport looks great from the outside. It has premium styling, the Land Rover badge, and a nicely designed interior. In the showroom, it checks all the right boxes. But with Land Rover, one question always comes back: reliability. Owners often complain about electronic issues, warning lights, sensor faults, and small problems that appear early. These may not always be catastrophic engine failures, but repeated small problems can become very frustrating. A warning light here, a sensor fault there, then another visit to the dealer. If you pay around $55,000 for a vehicle, going back to the service center multiple times in the first few months can destroy your confidence very quickly. That is why some owners decide to sell early, even if it means taking a financial loss. At number 4, we have the Range Rover Evoque. The Evoque is one of the most stylish compact luxury SUVs on the market. Its coupe-like roofline, sleek shape, and Range Rover badge make it look expensive and desirable. But daily ownership reveals some problems. That beautiful roofline hurts rear visibility. The back seat also may not feel comfortable enough for adult passengers. So the same design that makes the Evoque look cool also makes it less practical. And because this is still a Land Rover product, some owners also worry about electronic issues and reliability. Many Evoque buyers are first-time luxury SUV shoppers who fall in love with the design, but after living with the car every day, they realize that style alone is not enough. The Evoque may say, "Buy me," when you first see it, but after a few months, it may make you ask, did I really choose the right car? At number 3, we have the Ford Mustang Mach-E. When the Mach-E first arrived, the hype was huge. It was electric, modern, practical, and it carried the Mustang name. For a moment, it felt like the future. But then the EV market changed quickly. Electric vehicle prices started dropping. Ford also cut prices on some models. That created serious resale pressure for people who bought the Mach-E at higher prices. Imagine buying a new EV and then shortly after, seeing its value drop faster than expected. That hurts. Then come the real-world frustrations, charging inconvenience, winter range loss, and software problems that can require dealer visits. For a car that was supposed to feel like the future, that can be disappointing. The Mustang name is powerful, but in the EV world, range, charging, software, and resale value matter even more. At number 2, we have the Land Rover Discovery. The full-size Discovery is large, expensive, and ambitious. With prices reaching very high levels, buyers expect a premium, reliable, comfortable SUV. But once again, the problem comes back to reliability and service experience. Owners have reported sensor warnings, electrical problems, and long visits to the dealer. When you spend around $77,000 on a vehicle, you expect confidence. You expect it to work. You expect it to make life easier, not more stressful. Small problems may not seem serious at first, but in an expensive luxury SUV, repeated small problems start to feel like major failures. Add heavy depreciation on top, and some owners begin to feel like keeping the Discovery is a financial mistake. And now we reach number 1, the Jeep Grand Wagoneer. This may be one of the biggest regret purchases of the year. Why? Because the price is massive. A fully loaded Grand Wagoneer can cost between $90,000 and $110,000. That is not normal SUV money anymore. That is serious money. But the purchase price is only the beginning. Fuel economy is poor. Insurance can be expensive, monthly payments can be huge, and depreciation can be brutal. Some Grand Wagoneer owners watch thousands of dollars disappear in value within the first few months. When a vehicle is expensive to buy, expensive to fuel, expensive to insure, and loses value quickly, regret can arrive very fast. Add early reliability concerns, and the situation becomes even worse. The Grand Wagoneer was supposed to be a luxury American SUV with a big presence and a premium feel. But for some owners, the real cost of ownership became too much to ignore. That is why it takes the number 1 spot. So what does this list teach us? A car is not a good purchase just because it looks nice, has a famous badge, or feels impressive in the showroom. Real ownership costs matter. Depreciation matters. Fuel economy matters. Maintenance matters. Software quality matters. Comfort matters. And long-term reliability matters. Now I want to hear from you. Have you owned any of the cars on this list? Do you think these vehicles deserve the criticism, or are some of them being judged too harshly? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.